Honored today to welcome in someone from a very legendary band, a band that I have grown grown up listening to, and I've never had the opportunity to see live, but I hope that changes. But I love the music a lot. We have Blag from the wonderful Dwarves,
That's right. Great to be here. Thank you.
the world's greatest band, one could say.
Yes, absolutely. I've always felt that we are the greatest rock and roll band of all time.
You guys
It's
definitely
not
pack.
easy.
No, it's not. You guys pack the energy. You pack the tunes. I always so I run a little bit here and there, and I'm always kind of leaning on the Dwarves to be my soundtrack. A lot of times, I throw on Invented Rock and Roll quite a bit. That's probably
Ah,
one of my favorite ones.
it's nice to hear somebody going for one of the later ones. People tend to favor Young and Good Looking the most,
Yep.
which is kind of pop punk record and had Everybody's Girl and stuff like that from 97, 98. That one came out. And then the other one people really know is Blood, Guts, and Pussy from 1990, which was that
Right.
Sub Pop one, which is very kind of primitive, hardcore, kind of early thrash kind of vibe. And so it's nice when somebody gloms onto one of the later ones, like Invented. Yeah, I mean, there's
Yeah.
some funny songs on Invented, and it's a good record.
It really is. I think my first exposure really to the Dwarves was you were on a comp, an Asian Man Records comp. I think Salt Lake City was on the Plea for
Oh,
Peace Volume 2, I want to say, from a long time ago. And that was my first Dwarf song. And I was like, I gotta dive into this.
I'm glad to hear it. Yeah, Asian Man, Mike Park's label. He's from around here in San Jose.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. But you have a new record coming out June 5th, Jenkem, um,
Jenkem is coming. Yep.
from Greedy Records. Talk about this a little bit. What can we expect from this new record?
You know, the album before the full length, last full length from 2023 was called the Dwarves Concept Album.
Mhm.
And that was another one of those kind of Dwarves multi-genre, skip around a lot. You know, there's everything from kind of pop punk stuff to really heavy hardcore stuff to, you know, kind of down tune metally stuff to, you know, stuff with female vocals, and you know, garage stuff, even some noisescape kind of stuff. So it kind of was one of those Dwarves records that kind of hit a lot of different genres, like our old record Dwarves Must Die and stuff like that. And so this one, Jenkem, was kind of a return to form of just like, you know, blood guts, you know,
Yeah.
straightforward, knock out some punk songs, you know, everybody write a couple punk jams and let's do this. And so it's got a more stripped down quality. We even put a cover on it that's more, looks like an old bootleg from the 70s. So I hope people get the joke with that. Because a lot of times with Doors records, it's naked women on the
Right.
cover. And that's the kind of vibe. And with this, it was more like, you know, stenciled name and just like cheap looking, like bootleg style, you know, which I felt was more in keeping with like this record that's kind of straightforward, gut level, you know.
Yeah, hell yeah. I was gonna ask you about that because I've gotten to listen to the record, and I looked at the art, and I was like, oh, this is a little different
Yeah.
than what I was expecting. But the record's great, man. Like it's shorter songs, a lot of them, you know, under like some of them under a minute, a lot of them kind of in that minute and a half to 2 minute range. So like
Yeah.
you're kind of like you were saying, classic punk, and kind of going back to that life a little bit. Are there any like standout tracks for you as a person who created this that you want people to
Yeah. I
hear?
mean, you know, the one kind of mid tempo jam on there is called Damned If I Do. We're going to make a
Yep.
big video for that. And I think that's very accessible. It almost sounds like, you know, classic rock from the 80s or 90s, you know.
Hmm.
So that was kind of interesting to have a track like that. But yeah, for the most part, you know, very straightforward hardcore stuff like Drug Lust, you know, where you got
Yeah.
Nick Oliveri singing and just I Need Speed, you know. There's a funny song on there called Confused, you know, where the
Yeah.
opening line
Opening.
is, you know, hey, I'm gay, ain't that what the kids all say? And it kind of goes on from there, you know, about just I'm confused, you know, and and then it kind of hits that Dwarves. There's always a song or two about how we are the greatest band of all time. So this one's called "We Are the Scene," and that one's more anthemic punk, kind of epitaphy sounding, that kind of thing. So it kind of hits those kind of punk levels, and then there's some garagier stuff on the other side. There's a song called Psychosis Trippin', kind of sounds a little like a hopped up Kinks or something. A song called Last Chance Lily, that was Saltpeter, our original bass player, wrote, and it's more, straightforward garage rock, that type of thing.
Absolutely. And I really dig it. And it's you even have like a little bit of I guess you could say satirical, political kind of vibes on there as well.
Yeah, there's that one song called Hey Melania, which is funny that it's coming out now that everyone's kind of talking about Melania. I've always been fascinated by her. I mean, the closest Dwarves would get to politics would be like sort of talking about the trophy wife of the president, right? It's like I'm basically saying, hey, clearly you're free and doing as you please, so I'm here. If you need a shoulder to cry on, Melania, I can supply it for you.
Absolutely. So I mean, you have such longevity with this band, and the Dwarves have always kind of been known to push boundaries and to get a little wild, get a little crazy, but also have like a ton of fun. And I get those vibes still from listening to Jenkem. Kind of what drives that attitude after like such longevity?
Yeah, 40 years since the first Dwarves record.
Wow.
We even had some records before that with our high school band called Suburban Nightmare. So, which started in suburban Illinois there. So very much a Midwestern band before we moved to California in the mid 80s. And yeah, I mean, to me, that's what rock and roll is like a spirit of fun, a spirit of sex, a spirit of irreverence. And I think with a lot of bands, as they evolve or they kind of give in to the exigencies of trying to sell more records or do more pop stuff, they lose that. And I always felt like with the Dwarves, we managed to sort of incorporate new things, get poppier with the production sometimes, experiment more with different singers and different players and work with session guys like Josh Freese and different kind of people like that. And at the same time, never really lost our kind of tongue-in-cheek, irreverent, fun, because that's kind of what rock and roll is to us, so we still have fun with it. And the people who come in or are kind of more big time people kind of conform to us instead of us conforming to them. They've come in, when Josh comes in, it's like, great, I can do whatever the fuck I want. I'm with the Dwarves, but it's also, the lineup, when you get these young guys, like our drummer Snoop Hawk, he's got a great story with us. I mean, sometime around 2012, he was maybe 12 years old, or maybe this was 2010. Yeah, he was like 12 years old, and he was there at a Dwarf show we were playing.
Nice.
It was actually a punk rock bowling. Big Vegas main stage event. So he was there. It was all ages. He was there with his mom.
Nice.
And, he's singing along to every song. And I look in the audience and there's this kid right in front who knows every song. And, he looks like he's 3 feet tall. And I handed him the mic. And every time I handed him the mic, he'd hit the right line. Finally, I just brought him up on stage and said, you sing. So I'd just been a huge fan of this guy. And ultimately, he made some thrash bands and death metal bands, Limbless Torso and stuff like this. And he still sings in a great band called Get a Grip from Tucson, Arizona. And he's been playing drums with me now for the last 6-7 years, so nice. It's like, getting that injection of young people that are interested in the band and love it and that you're actually friends with. I think that helps you stay young. You look at bands, all the old guys, and it's all just like I'm part of the LLC and I want to get my share, and it's just like, man, you're not having any fun anymore.
Yeah,
So
you
having
know,
some young guys in there has been good.
yeah, absolutely. And I see that now too. Like, yeah, I mean, I'm 35, so I'm getting a little grayer and my body's starting to ache when it didn't before. But growing up in kind of the
Cry me
scene,
a river,
I know.
motherfucker.
I know. But I was always the young kid. I was always that young kid at the shows. And now um I'm going now and I'm always just like, depending on who the band is, I was like, dude, there's no young kids here. And I have 3 kids as well that I
Oh,
wish
wow.
liked the music that I liked. Some of them, they like some of the bands, but I went to a show not that long ago, and then I was finally looking around. I was like, oh, there's some young people here, like keeping this youthful spirits alive and keeping, fighting the fight and doing this, which made me feel good.
Yeah, and I think when especially with a punk band, I mean, you want to find that fountain of youth, and I think with a
Right.
lot of punk bands, it's more like they're just phoning it in.
Mhm.
Punk is in a bad place now, both in like sort of old guys phoning it in, but also a lot of identity bullshit and a
Mhm.
lot of cancel bullshit that a lot of people kind of got over. I mean, a few years ago, everything was a witch hunt, but
Yeah.
now it's like, man, people kind of understand, like, it's rock and roll. It's supposed to be fun. You don't take it seriously. And,
Right.
but punk, we just had people get, they got rid of the punk in the park guy because he's a Trump fan. I mean, shit, I'm not a Trump fan. I think Trump's an imbecile, but I'm, I like that guy. He put me on shows, and not
Yeah.
Trump, but
Right.
the Cameron who booked the Dwarves for a lot of punk in the parks, and people started telling me, oh, you got to drop off, and you got to not be part of this, and I was just like, what did the guy do again? It's like he gave money to Trump. It's like, so what? That
Yeah.
like, I don't agree, okay, but that doesn't mean I hate him, and he can't earn a living and he can't put on a show.
Right.
And it's just, we've lost the thread. It just happened in Los Angeles. A guy got drummed out of having his festival. They closed it down, and when you looked into the story, it was like some anonymous people online who wouldn't put their names out said that he was, had done some sexual shit. And it's like, hey, you know, stand behind your accusation if you're going to make this accusation, and let's not just judge this guy. All these bands dropped off his festival and quit. So I think
Mhm.
punk is in a bad place now. They need to grow a pair and understand that there's always going to be issues with this or that promoter or this or that band, and yes, if somebody's a child molester or has done some horrible thing, then fine, excommunicate them from society.
Right.
But people are innocent until proven guilty. It's still America,
Mhm.
and just because somebody has a different view than you doesn't mean you wipe them off the face of the earth. I just I just think punk, somehow people got the idea that that's what punk rock is. I almost think like the heavy metal people held on more to the idea of what rock and roll is and what it means to have a good time and do your thing and be irreverent and not take everything so seriously. So I don't know. I mean, it's my hope that punk will come back around. I'll always play that type of music, but
Mhm.
I don't really want to hang out with those people if they're going to act this way. Life
Yeah.
is too short, and I don't need to be canceled, and
Right.
I'm a good guy. I got my wife and my kid, and I'm living, but I'm not going to come out being, I'm a good person. That was
Yeah.
never the point of the Dwarves. The Dwarves like, no, I'm a horrible person. Suck dick. Fuck you. I'm getting
Right.
high, and you can go kill yourself, and I don't care. Like that's the that's the message of my band. It's never been like, I'm a good guy, you should like me because I'm good. It's just like, fuck
Yeah.
that. You know what I mean? I don't want to hear it. And there's too many punk bands going, we're good people and we believe in good people stuff, and it's just like, no, fuck that.
Yeah. Yeah, almost like a little pandering at times for sure. And yeah, I agree. Like I like the chaos of punk rock. Like I do like, like what like you're saying, like and you represent that quite a bit. Do you think people misunderstand you as a band sometimes or you as a
Oh,
person?
of course.
Yeah.
Yeah, and the time when it hurts is when, whether they like you or not, when it all just gets reduced to like these crazy kooks,
Yeah.
all they do is fuck and do dope. And it's like, well, okay, like I wrote some songs, I
Right.
produced some records, I played some shit. Could you say something about the song and the music and what it is? But, the Dwarves were kind of one of those bands that cultivated an image of insanity. But I did it specifically because, when we came up, it was that whole kind of mid 80s Bruce Springsteen, I'm a good guy, I'm for the working class, I'm for this and that. It was like, no, I'm the Antichrist, go fuck yourself.
Yeah.
And I've just never given that up. I think there's two different sides of life. There's how you're actually living your life, and then there's this fantasy world of rock and roll. I can say whatever I want, I can do whatever I want, and I don't have to be a nice guy, and it isn't for your mommy, and this is what this is. And if you don't like it, you can go fuck yourself tui.
Right. And so they don't have to listen to, it's like, you don't have to listen to the bands. Like,
yeah. And there was always, I would hear these bands who were mediocre, who wrote mediocre songs and produced mediocre records. And then you'd look and they had a mediocre album cover. That was a picture of them standing there frowning, or a bad drawing by one of their friends. Then the Dwarves come out with like these cool art photo shots of hot women. And then we would just get completely eliminated. Like, of course, this is bullshit music. They said fuck in a couple of their titles, and here's a pair of tits. So, of course, this is terrible music that you'd never want to listen to. It's like, no, actually, you're just rewarding mediocrity in all ways. You're rewarding mediocrity in art and song and production and everything else, and saying, well, this is what serious people do. This is how serious people make a record. And it's like, no, fuck you.
Right.
Like we and it's funny too, because people would always talk to me about like, well, you're obviously trying to shock people, and my response is like, I'm aware of the fact that it has shock value, but I'm not trying to shock people. All I'm trying to do is give you the unvarnished version of my id. This is my art without being, I think what most musicians do is censor themselves. They're thinking fuck, but then when they go to sing, they say love, or they're thinking drugs, and dope. But then when they write the song, it's drinking because that's legal or whatever it is. It's like you censor yourself in all these ways so that your song gets played. And a lot of musicians are so corny that way. It's all self-censorship. So then you hear something like the Dwarves and you go, well, you're just trying to be shocking. And it's like, no, I'm just not willing to censor what's in my brain.
Yeah.
So, and the rest of my band feels the same way. We're not here to do the most tame form of what we're supposed to do. Celebrating the gold in the middle of the road. It's like, no, we're on the outskirts of shit. And it isn't, the whole point of it isn't to shock you. It's to show you stuff that isn't self-censored,
Right. And I mean, and on this new record, you have Bad Drugs, and that's the song, about like, Adderall. And
I thought, wow, I've done so many pro drug songs. Let's do a song about bad drugs that I don't like and that I think are bad. So Adderall, Ritalin, and fentanyl, the three that I mentioned in there, and there's plenty more that I could have mentioned, but it's like, hey, this is a bad drug, and then it says why I think it's bad and I don't like it, but hopefully it's done in a funny way that people enjoy, but it's like Adderall is interesting because like people take it so they can focus more, and it's like, so you're taking speed so that you can work more and be more productive.
Right.
It's like, what's the difference between that and a guy who takes it so he can ride his motorcycle at 100 miles an hour with his helmet off? Right. I mean, why is taking speed in one context any better than taking it in this other context?
It's good. I mean, it's good. It's good commentary, and it is a good song. I did like that one. It was, it wasn't like, when I see the titles, I was like, oh, okay. You have this idea in your head of what it's going to be about. And then you're like, oh, actually, like, yeah.
Right, well, you
Adderall is
think
bad.
bad drugs is going to mean like, oh, you gave me some poison shit, like you gave me some coke, but it had fentanyl in it, and it was bad, and it was gonna. But the song is actually about like, no, I don't like this drug, Adderall, and here's why I don't like it, and
Right.
here's when we were kids, they would give kids Ritalin,
Mhm.
and so the lines like, I don't want to sit down and shut up and do as I'm told,
Right.
and for fentanyl, it's just like, hey, I don't want to die, what I mean?
Right.
It's like, I don't understand why people are taking these drugs. Like, yeah, this shit's great. It kills you, It's like, I don't think I want to take that, So
Right. Absolutely.
yeah.
It's a good one. You have a lot of shows coming up. You're hitting the road. You're kind of going all over the place. What can people kind of expect at these live shows?
And we're putting on a rad show, you got a couple newer guitar guys who came in over the last couple years. A guy named Ginger who plays with Screech and Weasel and the Queers and various bands. And he's just adds a lot of excitement and stuff on stage. And Mike Pygmy, guy who people might know from like different desert bands out in the sort of California stoner kind of bands, but he's playing punk rock with us.
Mm-hmm.
And that's been fun because anytime you get new people in, there's like an injection of like people learning it for the first time, going, "Oh wow, this is cool,"
Yeah.
So that's been fun. There's just Dwarves. There's just always a lot of energy. I mean, Nick Oliveri, who for my money is the greatest bass player in rock history. He can play anything: thrash, hardcore, standard rock, stoner rock. I mean, he invented stoner rock with Caius, and he. So he's a buddy of mine and a great singer. He's such a great lyricist and singer. So you kind of get two lead singers in there, me and him, and it's a fun show. It's wild. And going a few places, playing some Screech and Weasel shows out in Seattle and Portland and Denver, doing some shows with the Exploited in the early fall there in September and on the West Coast, and going out. RPM festival out in Massachusetts, some different stuff. So going to Europe, doing a lot of the metal festivals over there, doing
nice.
Hellfest, Obscene Extreme, and garage rock festivals like Shock and stuff like that. So Dwarves have a lot of, we can kind of be a punk band or a thrash band or a garage band because we've been around so long. We've got a huge repertoire of material, so yeah.
And I think you highlight that pretty well on Jenkem too, because you have like the punk vibes, but then you have ones where you're screaming and you have like a little more like thrashy tones to it. So all the songs flow really well together, but at the same time it kind of just shows your musicianship and your appreciation just for like kind of the different scenes and everything like that, which I think is good. You're not a one trick pony. You got a lot in with you.
Well, I appreciate that. Yeah, I think if you go back to all the different Dwarves records, there's valuable stuff there, and that's the rarest thing. A lot of times bands are inspired early in their career, and then the rest of it is just kind of, that's the big bang for them, and then everything is just kind of trails off that, and it's a worse and worse version of that.
Right.
I mean, one of the things that's kept the Dwarves going is everybody writes songs. I mean, even like, on this record, Snoop Hawk is playing drums, which is great. Previous records have tended to be Josh Freese for the last few years, like a superstar drummer with every band ever. Everybody from the Replacements and Nine Inch Nails, the Foo Fighters, and all these people. And he would come in and write songs with us. So it's like I'm the guy that doesn't even turn down the drummer's songs. It's like I figure like. A lot of times with punk bands, generally there'll be one guy that writes everything. So the first song on the record is the best song, and then the second one's the second best song, and the third, it just kind of like goes down like that. And with the Dwarves, it's like there's a lot of different songwriters. Everybody writes. Fresh Prince of Darkness, or guitar player, is a great songwriter. Nick Rex Everything is a great songwriter, and so everybody's bringing material in. And when everybody's bringing in material, I think you make a more well-rounded record. There's more variety, and also it just flows better. There's more stuff that it's not just like, here's this one guy's style the whole time,
Right. when somebody else brings you a song, is it normally just lyrics, or do they have like a kind of like a guitar lick attached to it? Or how does
There's two
it form?
ways. There's two ways. Like Nick tends to write music and lyrics,
Okay.
and Fresh Prince of Darkness too will do that. But also, there was always that side of it. Like the way I used to write with Hugh Cannot Be Named was he would come up with a chord progression, and then I would kind of write the lyrics and the vocal melody on it. Like, he was also a very good songwriter and would come up with entire songs, but I'll sing somebody else's lyrics, and generally I wind up tweaking them a little bit in one way or another. But the guy who's my production partner, Andy, now he also is a songwriter, and he, like, on this record, he wrote a song called I'm Dead, and it was the first one where he did lyrics for us too. And I'm like, these are brilliant lyrics, I'm singing this.
Yeah.
I changed a couple little things, but really it was his jam. But he and I tend to do a lot of, like, he just comes up with a chord progression because he's so musical, he'll come up with shit in 10 minutes. And then my thing is such that if you have a chord progression, I can write a good song over it in 10 minutes. And so we do a lot of that because you get that rock and roll, like, collaboration feeling, If I'm writing songs, they tend to be more like acoustic guitar, campfire kind of songs that we then speed up. Like a song like Bad Drugs is very much just me and my style. I just wrote that on an acoustic guitar, and then it's like, all right, let's speed this up and play it. So again, I think that's how you get a lot of variety on a record. And we've been doing this so long that a lot of the ego is removed. Like, everybody knows that I'm going to produce this thing. So within that context, it's like, write whatever you want, and I'll take your song and we'll do something cool with it. I might change some music. I might change some lyrics. I might not change anything. It's just, but everybody gets a chance to write. It's not like, okay, it's only one guy's song. I think that makes a band tired too. And I think you got to get people invested in your project, and one of the ways to do that is to do their songs. And when their songs are good, then it's like, great. People have brought me songs. I'm like, yeah, I'm not interested, like, but this one's great. I'm like, no, not for me,
Yeah.
So it can go any number of different ways.
Yeah, that's great. And I do think that collaborative approach is what makes a record better than if it were just one person doing it all. Even you collaborate, like you said, you're going on tour with Screeching Weasel, The Exploited, two very kind of different style bands in
I Hate God, which is another different style. Love those guys. Kind of a hardcore band with sludgy overtones,
Yeah, I really liked your split that you did with Rage and Nathan's. That one was awesome too. And I
like pop punk band. Yeah, I like them.
Yeah, so hitting collaboration not only with your band members but just with genres and everything like that, and which is the reason why you are the best rock and roll band, the world's greatest rock and roll band.
Someone has to do it,
and I'm glad it's you guys. June 5th we got the record coming out. How could people access it? Are you doing
well, my favorite way is if they get it online at the Dwarves site, which is just thedwarves.com.
Nice.
So you go on there and you click the merch, and boom, you can buy it. And we do it with different tiers. So they'll just be the regular black vinyl record that you can get at regular price, like just what you'd pay at a record store. But then there's also like these other tiers of it where there's like, I think with this one, there's like smoke red vinyl, and there's only 200 of those. And then it comes with a fake parody cover. I have a buddy, John Gentili, that makes funny parody covers. I think he'll have like a Minor Threat parody cover.
Oh, nice.
And then there's another one that's like orange glitter vinyl, and there's only 100 of those. And you get that with a different parody cover. And then I'll even sell a couple test pressings. Like, we don't do that bullshit where we make 100 test pressings and try and cash in, but we'll make like 15, and I'll sell, 4 or 5 of them, at exorbitant prices. And you get all of the side shit, all of the parody covers and all this stuff. So there's kind of something for everybody, different tiers of it. But I say go to thedwarves.com, you get it signed. Yeah. So that's kind of cool to get get it signed and get some extra stuff with it, and if you got the money, you can pay extra. If not, you just get it regular price, and
Right.
so
I'm a big sucker for the vinyl variants. I'll buy one record 4 times because it's different colors. So, and I
see,
think
we love people like you.
yeah, I bet. Yeah, I'm looking forward to it, man. I hope you guys make your way to the Midwest at some point, and maybe in the good old Wisconsin area. We were talking a little earlier before. Close
Love
to your
that,
stomping.
Scotty. Yeah,
Yeah.
I come from suburban Illinois. Spent time in Wisconsin. Back then, the drinking age in Illinois was 21, but in Wisconsin it was only 18.
Oh,
So
sure.
we would, drink and drive across the border. You go. I can't remember the town. I think it was like, what's the town that's right over the border? I went Kenosha.
Kenosha.
You're
Yeah.
driving to Kenosha. There was a place called Mars Cheese Castle.
Oh yeah, I know Mars Cheese
And
Castle.
you can go get beers. Some nights they'd have quarter beers. You go there, and then we'd be all fucked up driving home.
Yeah.
So yeah, I have memories of Wisconsin.
Good. The land of beer and the land of cheese. You got some good bands that have come out of Wisconsin as well. So
absolutely. Well, my friend, well, I guess Ben comes from Illinois, but he lives in Wisconsin. From Screech and Weasel, and yeah, no, Violent Femmes was a band I was lucky enough to see as a teenager. Had a big impact on me. I thought they were a brilliant group.
Yeah. Absolutely, man. Well, I really appreciate you coming on. It's really been an honor. Grab the album Jenkem, June 5th. If you want to find out what Jenkem is, just do a quick Google search. And it's interesting stuff. But Blag, I really appreciate this. And
well, thanks for talking to me. Send me a link. I'll check.
Absolutely. Appreciate it, man.
I'll listen to me talk about me.